Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I know we're looking at gold going, what the hell is going on? It's down $100, $120, down to 30.21 from 31.40. So it's 31.40 at 8 o'clock. And then boom, boom, boom. Now, this is all phony and all bullshit, and it's got nothing to do with reality. Nobody is selling an ounce of gold. Silver also is getting crushed, 29.69. So let us put our Teaserking cap on and analyze what the hell is going on. So what are they doing here? These are derivatives. Nobody's selling an ounce of gold or silver. This is the problem when you have price fixed markets instead of real markets. You would never see this go from 80,000 to 70,000. Never. So what do we have going on here? Let's use logic because we don't really know because it doesn't make sense. Am I worried? Absolutely not. We know COMEX is gone because basically it's not a physical market. COMEX is a paper market for derivatives where nobody's supposed to take delivery and there's not supposed to be any physical in there. So we know it's full of shit, right? We know that market's full of shit. Real quick, I might have to get off because I'm waiting for maintenance come because they're doing filters and motors and shit like that today between 9 and 5. So I was waiting for it and watching Mark McGuire, who made no sense today because he's doing it on Wednesday and all this is happening today. Now, this is the beginning of the month. Maybe it's a quarter, Jan, Feb, March. So it is a quarterly thing. This absolutely makes no sense, except it's just price fixing. So there's two things going on. One, they're trying to scare you to get out of gold and silver. Oh my God, it's going down, but it's not real. Two, they want to buy. So if I want to buy gold and silver, that means I want the price lower. So they're dumping, this is all coming from JP Morgan, maybe Goldman Sachs, and they're just dumping derivatives. And there's probably an algorithm that's caught on 3019. So this is why gold's frustrating. It was 3061 2 nights ago, and I'm putting out a video going, hey, it's 3061. 3061. Here we go. We're gonna see 3,200, then 3,300. So this is mostly done by the U.S. At 8 o'clock, it was still London. At 10 o'clock, it's the U.S. So the U.S. got it at 3070. So London dropped it down a lot, probably for the U.S. And now I would assume there's buying going on by the U.S. because they need gold. And they need to cover the derivatives by July 1st. So they're trying to frantically push the price down. Hey, Real D. Any baseball picks? I think it's a little early. We can take a look at the games. It's just, I think, a little early to really get the trends. So it's sort of like looking at, Cam Ward, right? He's first pick of Tennessee. I'm going to need to see 5 or 6 games to really get a feel of him because he's not as good as Penix and Daniels, which I could get a feel on pretty quickly because I knew how good they were. Where May's not, but we'll take a look at it in a minute. So there's 2 reasons. This is a controlled, manipulated price, so therefore it's so somebody can buy it. Or they're trying to scare you out of it so you jump into stocks. Now, again, nobody in the right mind is selling physical gold. So this is not being perpetuated by physical selling. This is strictly derivatives, paper, bullshit, price fix. That's what we got. So keep that in mind. Do not panic. This is a buying opportunity. If you want to buy gold, I would buy it right now. Silver at $29.79 is a joke. I might run and go buy another 10, 20 ounces. This is ridiculous. And again, people looking at it don't understand it. They think it's a stock. It's not a stock. This is much better than a stock. So keep that in mind. We'll get back to it. Let's look for baseball for Real D. Is there any game in particular you want Real D, or you just... Let's take a look. So the first game start at 110 and it's 12:20. All right, the White Sox and the Tigers. Tigers are 275, over under a 7. Phillies versus the Dodgers. All right, we'll get to it. Flaherty against Cannon. Detroit's 270. I don't know. They think Chicago's bad, but I don't know how good Detroit is. Detroit had very lucky last year. Their minor league hitting actually hit. Very unusual. It is opening day here. It's sunny. I don't know how cold it is. So I don't know. I maybe Detroit, but to lay 275 and then over under a 7, I would say it's probably over. But I don't know the White Sox. Like I looked at who was I looking at yesterday, or when the Tigers played Seattle, and I looked at their lineup. They are an under team. They didn't have one guy hitting 200. So Seattle definitely will keep an eye on as an under. All right, let's go to Phillies and Dodgers for Real D. So it's not the Oakland Athletics, but it's not the Las Vegas Athletics. It's just the Athletics, because I'm not seeing Oakland for some reason, but we're going to call them Oakland A's anyway for Reggie Jackson, Ricky Henderson. All right, 645, the Dodgers, Philly, the Dodgers minus 130, over under of 8. Mr. Fuji going for the Dodgers, 1-0 at the 270 against Jesus Luzardo. He's one of the Mexican wrestlers, 1-0 at the 360. It's too early to tell. I mean, so the question is, who's the guy from Atlanta? Freddie Freeman, is he playing? He slipped in the shower. We have the game at Philly, which means LA had to fly there, which is an advantage Philadelphia. Let's see if we got any type of... Phillies host the Dodgers on home win streak. So Mr. Fuji's 1-0, 270 for the Dodgers. Loretto 1-0, 360. I hate to bet it. Here we go. Injuries. Freddie Freeman, 10-day DL. Oh, Freddie Freeman's out then. Freddie on the 10-day disabled list. So that's a sign. Ranger Suarez, the pitcher, is on a 15-day DL. But we don't care about him. Stat leaders, who cares? 4 home runs. Carlos Schwarber's having a good start with 4. Team comparison, Phillies hitting 305. The Dodgers are hitting 233. Wow. Runs, the Dodgers, even though they're hitting 233, have 41 runs. Now, the question is it the same amount of games? It shouldn't be runs. It should be runs per game. Home runs, 18-9, but they play in a small ballpark in L.A., not Philadelphia. So they have a lot, but it's skewed because of the small ballpark, and they played the Tigers. On base percentage, who cares? Slugging percentage, who cares? ERA, Dodgers 197, Philly 283. Home runs allowed, they allowed 8. Batting average against, the Dodgers 192, Philly 220. Does that help us? A little. All that helps us is Freddie Freeman's out. Public bet, the Dodgers 130, and okay, over under of 8. And this is the first. Let's see, the Dodgers have beaten Atlanta and Detroit. Well, Detroit sucks. They beat Atlanta 3 times. That doesn't, and they were all at home. So that's why their home runs and runs are up. Philly lost at Washington 5-1, beat them 11-6. Jalen Daniel didn't play in the 5-1 game. Then they go to Colorado, and they had to play Bo Nix. They beat them 6-1, 5-1, 3-1 at home. So are you asking me, are they a live dog? Hey, Prophet. Freeman on IR. Yeah, it's not a big enough number, minus 130. So you get what, plus 110 or 120? Probably plus 110 to take Philly. Never heard of the pitcher, Fuji, for the Dodgers. Shabina Yamamoto. Want to know what the 270 and that probably came against the Tigers. Jesus Laredo would have come maybe against Colorado. Total of 8, but without Freddie Freeman. Yeah, I think he can take Philadelphia here. I think they're not going to be a dog at home a lot. They're a good team. They're 5-1. The Dodgers an 8-0. It's been Detroit. How are they 8-0? I got Detroit and I got Colorado. Or who did they beat? So I got their schedule. Detroit twice, and then Atlanta 3 times, April 2nd. They've only played 5 games. Oh, yeah, they played the games in Japan. Okay, yeah, all right. That doesn't count. Yeah, I think Philly's a live dog there. I think at home. So you got Freeman out. You got the Dodgers traveling to Philadelphia. That's West Coast, East Coast. Yeah, I think Philly's a good solid bet there. Remember, Dodgers season started early. Yeah, in Japan. I wasn't paying any attention. I think we were watching basketball or whatever. But yeah, a lot of travel for the Dodgers. Japan, and then at home, and all East. It's got to struggle that first game to go West Coast to East Coast. We know it's tough. The only time it worked was when Magic went to Philly in Game 6 of the 1979 or 1980 NBA Finals, and he put up a 50. They don't have Magic on this team. I think Philly has a good chance. Trying to be unbiased. I don't really know the pitching. I don't know either pitcher. I don't know how good they are. Never heard of them. So got to be careful. Maybe it's an over. Are the Dodgers going to hit a bunch of home runs in Philadelphia? At home, they can hit home runs, but it's such a small ballpark. What is it, like 300 feet to center field? So I don't know, but I think that I think Philly at home, this first game, I think has a huge advantage because of the travel. So go Philly, beat Navy. All right. So, Prophet, you getting nervous about the gold? You don't own any gold yet. So Anyway, don't get nervous about the gold. The gold is just being done by derivatives for one of two reasons: to scare people into buying equities because they're about to crash, or to so the U.S. can buy gold cheaper because we don't have any money. One of those two. That's the only two things you can come up with. And these are all paper gold. This is not physical. Nobody is selling because again, the market doesn't work on sale. So it's not like gold's being sold, causing the price to go down. This is all bullshit derivatives. So don't worry. By the end of next week, it'll be back to 31.50. All right. This is nothing more than fake setback here. I think it's either it's to scare people not to buy it, or like I say, it's so the U.S. can buy with all these tariffs. It could be both. Hey, get out of gold and silver, go into the stock market because it's about to crash, or we want to buy it, so we're going to buy it cheaper. And look who's doing it. I mean, it was 31.40 at 6 o'clock in the morning. I woke up, it's 31.40. I'm like, perfect. And then all of a sudden it's 30.40. I'm like, this does not happen to gold ever. I've been watching for years, 5, 6, 7 years. I've never seen it go down 100 in 2-3 hours. These are heavy derivatives. And when they get bought, they're going to go up just as fast because there's going to be nobody there selling them. So it's bullshit. Anyway, all right, back to baseball. And then we'll do the Final Four. St. Louis and Boston. We've got St. Louis a favorite at Boston, 105, over under a 9. We got Eric Fetty, 1-0 with a 1.50 for St. Louis. Walker Buehler from the Dodgers, 0-1 with an 8.30. And I wonder why St. Louis is there. I think I go over in this game, over 9. I don't trust Eric Fetty and Walter Buehler. I mean, this is too early. 0-1 with an 8.31, but Boston don't hit well at home. But you can't bet on Buehler with an 8.31. San Diego and a Cubs. Now, again, this is very early in the season, so just be wary. If you're going to bet like, 1 unit. The Cubs, 175.7. San Diego is 7-0. The Cubbies are 5-4. Randy Vasquez for San Diego, 0-0 with an 0.00 against Shoto Amanagana, 1-0 with a 0.82. Looks like an under game, but you don't know what Randy Vasquez is. Has he pitched? I like the Cubbies here. You like the Cubbies, but San Diego is 7-0, so this should be an interesting game. Toronto and the JETS Mets. Profit a lot of day baseball today. Yeah, I don't know why. They traveled a lot yesterday for the weekend. I don't know. Doesn't really make sense, the day baseball. People are working, I think. And if they're not working, they're not going to a ball game. I mean, I'm not working. The last thing I would do is go to the Tiger game. I might go to MGM and play poker and try to buy groceries that way, but I'm not going to a ball game. Paying $100 for a ticket and $100 for food. Cold weather here. I don't know. I haven't been out yet. It's a little chilly still, but not terribly. All right. Toronto in the JETSs. Kevin Gausman for Toronto. The Mets are 137.5. Kevin Gausman 1-0 with a 3 ERA against Tyler McGill, 1-0 with a 1.8. Again, have no idea. Tyler McGill, he pitched 1 game. We don't have much on him. Gausman's pretty good. I don't know. Is Tyler McGill real? So that's what you got to look at. The Athletics, apparently they're not in a city against Colorado. Colorado's terrible, 1-5. Oakland is minus 129.5. Does Oakland hit? Oswald Cobblepot for Oakland, 1-0 with the 1.80 against Ryan Feltner, 0-0 with the 3.60. At Colorado, you got to go over. It's only 9.5 here. The Yankees go to the Pirates, and we've got the Yankees 175, big favorites, 7.5 total. Max Fried 0-0 with the 3.86 against Mitch Keller, 1-0 with. I like Pittsburgh as a live dog here with this pitcher, only because they're 175 plus. Well, the Yankees are minus 170, so you probably get 140 with Pittsburgh, but they're at home. Good pitcher. Max Fried, I don't know what team he was on last year, but he was okay. Seattle goes to the 49ers. We got Frisco minus 155, 7.5. Luis Castillo 0-0 with an 0-0 against, Justin Verlander's on the 49ers. Wow. He could play quarterback for the football team also. 0-0 with a 3.60. I'm going to make this a 5-star lock under. Seattle can't hit. You got Verlander, who's not going to give up a run. You can play Frisco, but we don't know how good they are in Castillo. So let's go under 7.5 here with the 49ers. Let me mark this as our first 5-unit play. What's today? 4-4. San Fran under 7.5. 5-unit. All right, now we're going to get to college basketball, don't worry. No, in general, that's why there are more day games early in the season. I don't recall that. I mean, today's the Tigers' home opener. It's usually a day game. Maybe it's the home openers. But I don't know that. Maybe the weather's colder at night. Then they shouldn't play until May if they're worried about the cold. So I like the under in the Seattle-Frisco game based on Seattle's batting lineup, where they didn't have their batting order. They didn't have one guy hitting over 210. The whole team has the flu. All right, Arizona, Washington, Arizona minus 145, 8.5. A lot of road favorites today. Brandon Pfaadt, 0-1 with the 4.50 for Arizona. Jake Irvin, 0-0. Let's go over. Arizona, Washington, over 8.5. Games in Washington. That's a night game. Miami at Atlanta. Atlanta's 0-7, and they're favored. Miami's 4-3. Atlanta's favored minus 250, and they haven't won a game, 7.5. Max Mayer for Miami, 0-0 with a 159. Spencer Swellbach, 0-0 with an 0-0-0. I don't know. I don't remember Spencer. The name sounds a little familiar from last year, but that was last year. I don't know how good Meyer's got. 0-0 with a 159. I don't even know if he's the starter. The way they do with the bullpens, you have no idea what's going on. I'd have to bet Miami. Atlanta's 0-7, and it's 250. It's a huge number. So take Miami. Baltimore at Kansas City. I don't know. Baltimore, didn't they let go half their players and they sucked this year? They're 3-4. KC apparently sucks this year too. Baltimore is another road favorite, 105. Total of 8. Dean Kremer, 1-0 with an 8.44. Seth Lugo, 0-0 with the 5.40. I go over 8 in this game. Baltimore, KC go over 8. 2 terrible pitchers. Tampa Bay and Texas. Texas minus 130, 8.5. Zach Littell for Tampa, 0-1 with the 1.50. Tyler Mahle, 0-0 with a 5.40 for Texas. Is Texas any good? Is Tampa any good? I don't know how good Zach Littell is. Don't have a clue. Cincinnati, Milwaukee. God, we struggled so much with Cincinnati and Milwaukee last year, trying to figure them out. Milwaukee, a minus 130, 8.5. Nick Martinez for Cincinnati, 0-1 with the 6 ERA against Tyler Alexander, 0-0 with the 5. So we got to go over 8.5 here. 2 weak pitchers. It's what's so confusing is how many innings are they going to pitch? I mean, this game's so screwed up. Well, we're going to pitch the pitcher, but he's only going 2 innings or 3 innings, and we're going to have 18 guys out of the bullpen. I mean, what the fuck are these? These managers have their heads way up their asses. So we'll go over Cincinnati, Milwaukee, and then Cleveland and California. Cleveland, another road favorite, minus 115 and 8. Gavin Williams, 0-0 with the 3.60. Jose Soriano, 1-0 with an 0-0 for California. Doesn't mean anything. I don't know. This looks like an under game to me, but I don't know. So let's take a look at this. We've got Detroit, all right, a home favorite. We've got St. Louis is a road favorite at Boston. We got the Cubs favorite at home. We got the Mets favorite at home. We got Oakland favorite at Colorado. We've got the Yankees favorite at Pittsburgh. We've got Frisco favorite at home. The Dodgers favorite at Philly. We got Arizona favorite at Washington. We've got Atlanta favorite at home, but a big favorite. I don't understand. This is like an 0-7 team. This is like Northwestern being favored over Penn State. I mean, they're 0-7 and they're a 250 favorite. Good Lord. Baltimore favorite at Kansas City. We've got Texas favorite at home to Tampa. Milwaukee favorite at home to Cincy, and Cleveland favorite at California. Just a lot of road favorites. Very unusual. How many of these are like opening days? Like the Tigers are opening day. So, you get a full house and you get a lot of, not that it's a guaranteed win, but you definitely have a full crowd. All right. So, bet with the streak. Be careful of the pitchers, who they are at this point. Are they starters, relievers, or what the hell is going on? It's so unorganized. All right, so that's baseball. Let's check news. Is there anything? Torpedo bat mania, say about modern. I don't know. So what is torpedo bat? It's just hollowed out or something? Doesn't matter. It's like Mark McGwire on steroids. He still had to hit the ball, and it doesn't help hand-eye coordination. Let's see. Dodgers place Freddie Freeman on IL. Dodgers stay undefeated. Garrett Crochet. He got a big salary. Is he any good? I never heard of the guy. San Diego's won 7 in a row. Max Muncy tried the torpedo bat for 3 at-bats, then dumped it. It's all in his head. Okay, nothing there. It's fatter at the sweet spot. Must be harder to hit then. If you hit the bat on the sweet spot, the ball goes. You don't need it fatter. That doesn't make any sense. All right, college basketball, 2 games. We've got all right, we got Florida against Auburn. We got all 4 1 seeds. Florida minus 2.5, 159.5. I think this is an over. So Florida, 84 on Texas Tech, 84-79, 87-71 Maryland, 77-75 with Connecticut, 95-69 Norfolk State, Tennessee, 86-77. So they score a lot of points and they give up a lot of points. 69 to Norfolk, but 79 to Texas Tech. So that's a 163. This is over 159. Auburn lost to Tennessee, got 65 points, beat Alabama State, beat Creighton 82-70, beat Michigan and Michigan State, Michigan 78-65, and Michigan State, a strong defensive team, 70-64. So they played a 134 there, which was a winner, and they played a 143 and a 152 and a 135. So Auburn plays a little lower scoring, but Florida gets in the 90s and hundreds and gives up more. So Auburn's going to have to keep up with them. So we're going to go over Florida over 159. As far as taking Florida minus 2.5 or Auburn, I have no idea. Duke and Houston. Duke's 5.5, 136.5. So we're going to go under because it's Houston, 136.5. Let's take a look at what's going on. Is Duke so good or not? Cooper Flag. Everybody thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced milk. Averages only 19.4 a game, I guess, points, 4.2 assists, and 7.6 rebounds. Hardly impressive. Let's see. Money line, Duke minus 275, Houston plus 225. If you like, Alex is taking Houston money line, but he lives in Houston. If you think Houston's all that, you can get 225. It's a pretty good bet. Or you can take the 5.5. Let's look at Houston. The last 5 games, they gave up 64 to Arizona, and then SIU, Edwardsville 40, Gonzaga 76, Purdue 60, Tennessee 50. So you're not getting a lot of points. But Duke scored 93 on Mount St. Mary's, 89 on Baylor, 100 on Arizona, and Houston got 72 on them, and Ella fucking Bama 85. Now, the interesting thing on Duke with Arizona, it was 100-93. But when they played Houston beat them 72-64. So Houston held them to 64, and Duke didn't, held them to 93. Otherwise, Duke, Alabama 65, Baylor 66, Louisville 62. So it's going to be a low-scoring game. Let's put 5 units on that game. Houston under 136.5, 5 units. As far as them to win, Duke beat Alabama by 20, Arizona by 7, Baylor by 23, Louisville by 11. They don't win close. Houston, on the other hand, beats Tennessee by 19, Purdue by 2, but I didn't think Purdue was that good, Gonzaga by 5, and Arizona. So have they beaten a team like Duke? Well, we only can see the last 5. I'd like to see the BYU game. Well, I guess I can. Let's see Houston. What have they done? All right, here's their schedule. Let's go back to Feb 1st. Oh, come on, really? All right, let's go to Feb 1st. They lose to Texas Tech 82-81. Beat Oak State 72-63. Colorado prime played 69-59. Baylor, Arizona 62-58. Iowa State 68-59. Texas Tech's in the tournament 69-61. Kansas 65-59. And then Baylor over Colorado 70. BYU, they beat them by 20. Arizona, they beat by, so this is their conference tournament. Beat Colorado by 9, BYU by 20, Arizona by 8, and then the NCAA tournament. Well, let's take a look at Dookie then. Now, unlike football, where I know everything about everybody, I don't. So what I'm looking at is how good was their schedule and who they beat. Let's go to Feb 1st. They beat North Carolina, who sucked this year, 87-70. Syracuse lost to Clemson. Beats Cal, beats Stanford. The hell are they playing Cal and Stanford for? Jesus Christ. Beats Virginia. Illinois, 110-67. That's a good win. Miami, did Cam Ward play in the game? Florida State, Oogly Boogly played in the game. Wake, North Carolina. Then they get into their postseason. They beat Georgia Tech by 8, North Carolina by 3, Louisville by 11. And then this tournament has been a 20 close game with Arizona. Okay, I can't tell who the great defensive team is. Maybe Louisville was 73-62. They got 85 on Alabama, who's not great. Georgia Tech 78-70. North Carolina got 69 on them. So hard to see the defensive teams. So it's hard to take the 5.5 or lay the 5.5. It's more that they're going to play a low scoring game because that's what Houston does. I was watching the game on the weekend. It was 50-40. Excuse me. I think I got the thing, so I might have to end. Just a second. Yeah.
Hello, we're the plumbers. We're here to replace your exhaust fans.
Okay. How long is that going to take?
It's about 15 minutes burn, so there's 2 of us, so it could take up to 30 minutes.
That's fine. Okay. Thank you. All right, we're going to try to keep. They're doing the exhaust fans, so we'll try to see how loud it gets.
Yeah.
Or I might come back.
Because I am hard.
It's fatter at the sweet spot. Yeah, I know that. Right, if it's a bigger sweet spot. I understand that. Let me know if you need anything. It should be pretty clear for you guys. I don't have much anyway as far as in the way. But let me know.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is maintenance at the apartment. All right, so I'd say you go under in the game. I think that's the best bet there. I don't know how good Duke is. I don't know how good the kid is. Houston seems to be very strong defensively. Can they handle the pressure? We don't know. Can Duke handle the pressure? We don't know. I think it's going to be Florida against Houston. I don't look at Auburn and say, wow, they're all that. And the way Florida's been playing, I like Florida. All right, so go Florida over, Houston under. Florida seems to score, so I can see a lot of points going. Hopefully this isn't too loud then. I mean, it's good they're here now. I can go to the pool right after. All right, let's go to the NFL. And let's see if Aaron Rodgers is banning the tush. So my feeling on the tush push is it's bullshit. It's rugby. You gotta move on your own. Right? Pushing a guy is not part of football. Right? They didn't push Joe Namath. They didn't push Jim Brown, Franco Harris, Bradshaw. Nobody got pushed. I think football is a sport where you run and that's it. And forward progress is stopped. That's it. This tush push is rugby. It's not part of the game, especially when it's affecting scoring the way it is, where the guys at the goal line and they're pushing them in because it's really not even the quarterback doing it. He's not doing anything. It's the two backers, linemen, or whoever's in the backfield who, as the play stop, they then push them in. So if I'm playing defense, what do I need to do? I need to push the pile from the defensive end. So in other words, I'm going to have two linebackers wait on the play and then push the line back into the lineman's face so they can't do anything. That's how I would view it. So anyway, I think it's a bullshit thing. I don't think it should be legal. I don't think picking up players and moving them or carrying players or shoving players is part of the game. It hurts the game because it's just bullshit. Who's the NFL drafts tight end one? Warren or Loveland? Who gives a shit? Raiders give Geno Smith. Well, let's see how long that goes. Bear with me. Raiders give Geno Smith 2-year extension, starving off free agency. Are they out of their minds giving Geno Smith $70 million? Like $60 million is guaranteed. What are they thinking? All right, first of all, he's not good. He wasn't good at Seattle. They didn't make the playoffs with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. They couldn't do anything with this guy. This is a joke. 2 years to pay this guy that kind of money. You need defensive help. You need offensive help. This is not. Is he going to be able to throw the ball to Brock Bowers? Does he know how to throw? I'm not impressed with this guy at all. He's a minor league quarterback. I'm all over Houston +5 here. At the very least, Houston should keep it close. See, I don't like that. It's only a 5-point spread. You have to believe Houston's going to win the game to bet Houston. They have to be able to win. That's what I told Real D with Philadelphia and the Dodgers. I said, I think Philly can win the game. To take Philly, especially with the guy out, Freeman. In this case, you cannot bet Houston thinking they might keep the game close. If you don't believe they can win, you can't bet Houston. The play's got to be under because they're going to lose. Well, you only got 5. That's not enough in basketball. So I wouldn't do it there. What are they working on? They're working on my exhaust fans and stuff in the apartment. It's maintenance, so and it's good because they're probably old anyway. So I'm glad they're doing it, but I'm glad they're here now, so I can because I've been waiting for them. The grade 8 debate: Jackson Earnhardt Jr. locked in a trademark battle. I don't know what that is. Home and away matchups for all 32 teams, the 25 NFL schedule. Detroit, Gibbs and Jameson changed numbers. Who gives a shit? Cowboys reportedly acquired Joe Milton to back up Des Bryant. So you had Cooper Rush. You should have started. You trade him to Baltimore, where he should start there. And who is Joe Milton? Excuse me. He sucked at Michigan. He sucked at Tennessee. And now Dallas has him. Now Dallas, Prescott sucks anyway. The best thing that could happen to Baltimore is Lamar gets hurt and Cooper Rush is their quarterback. They actually have a chance to win the Super Bowl. That's their best chance. Joe Milton is terrible. I don't get it. I mean, if he can't do anything at Tennessee, what's he going to do? That's a good offensive program with the coach. So I think this is a terrible move by Dallas. Ben Roethlisberger says Aaron Rodgers is stalling Steelers waiting for Minnesota. Well, I think Minnesota is the better play. I think they have better coaching. And they got Justin Jefferson. And now Pittsburgh's got DK Metcalf. So it's not a bad place, and I don't mind. He's got nothing. There's no hurry. I mean, the season's still Preseason is in July. He doesn't have to sign now, but if Minnesota makes him an offer, then he gets to negotiate with Pittsburgh going, I got an offer from Minnesota. I don't know what Minnesota's waiting for. You can get a guy like Aaron Rodgers. You pick him up like that, especially when you got a rookie who's never played before, who sucked at Michigan. What are you waiting for? So I don't blame Rodgers for waiting. I do the same thing at his stage. Chiefs reportedly want NFL to make them a staple on Christmas Day. I read that yesterday. Cowboys create stir around Micah Parsons, whatever. Dan Campbell on Aaron Glenn. If he can't turn around the Jets, nobody can. Well, he's not going to turn around the Jets. They had the better coach last year. Chiefs agree to deal with defensive end Janarius Robinson and NFL draft cornerback rankings. Yeah, not much. They're just talking about Prime Jr. and Colts or Jets likely to draft Penn State tight end Tyler Warren. Who cares? He ain't Brock Bowers. We don't care about him. Let's see. This is another mock draft. I think we already read this. Yeah, Cam Ward goes to Tennessee. Huge mistake for Tennessee. Cleveland gets Travis Hunter from Colorado. Why? Do you draft cornerbacks with the 2 pick? No. Do you draft receivers with the 2 pick? No. What the hell are they doing? Where are you going to play them? You got Myles Garrett. Do you need a receiver? Is this guy the best receiver? No. The Giants, Prime Jr. from Colorado. You just signed Russell Wilson and you signed Winston. Okay, what are you doing there, fellas? New England gets this offensive tackle from Missouri. Terrible pick. Jacksonville gets Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan. Yeah, no, they need defense. They need a quarterback. They need running. They need a coach. On and on. It's just a bad team. Oakland gets Austin Gentry from Boise. Now you got Geno Smith, who's a weak quarterback, but you need the running back. And I don't know what you did with the guy from UTSA. The JETSs, Abdul Carter, edge from Penn State. They need a quarterback, don't they? Or they're going to rely on Justin Fields. Carolina, Shimmer Stewart, edge from A&M. Okay, I don't know. I didn't know A&M had a good defense. New Orleans, Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. Terrible pick. They need a lot more than this. The Bears, Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU. Really? Wow, pretty bad. The Niners, Derek Hammer, defensive tackle, Oregon. I didn't know he was that good, but if he's a stud, they lost a lot of players. Frisco, Dallas, some McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. He is not the best receiver in the draft. I don't know what they're doing with him. This is an outside receiver, and I don't know about that. Miami Dolphins, Starks, the safety from Georgia. They need the next guy, Merkel Williams, the edge from Georgia. Miami should get. Indy, okay, they need defense. Atlanta, they need defense. Jalen Walker, linebacker from Georgia. Now that fits Atlanta because they got Penix, they got Bijan Robinson, they got receivers. They need defense. If they ever got a stud defense, they would be very strong with Penix. Geno Smith does have very good indoor passing numbers for some reason. Well, I don't know. They played Seattle. They play at the Niners. The Rams were indoor the last few years. And Arizona is probably outdoor, so I don't know. He did well against the Lions that had no defense. That's a really misleading stat. You got to look at the teams, not it's indoor or outdoor. Arizona, Josh Simons, defense, offensive tackle, Ohio State. You need defense, Arizona. You got the quarterback, and that's about it. Cincinnati, Tyler Booker, guard from Alabama. Really, Cincinnati needs defense. You got Burrow, you got Chase and T. Higgins. You need a running back. And Scatterboo should be your second round pick, but this guy first round is a joke. You don't waste a guard in the first round when you need defense badly. The Seahawks, Warren from Penn State, they need a quarterback badly. They need a coach. Tampa Bay, Jaheed Campbell, linebacker, Alabama, terrible pick. Denver, Omari and Hampton, running back from North Carolina. That'll help Bo Nix in the offense. Their defense is pretty strong. Pittsburgh, Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, Michigan. I don't know how good he is, but they beat Ohio State. And then Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh needs defensive help, especially if they we don't know who their quarterback is. I don't know why they didn't sign Russell Wilson. That was a big mistake. San Diego, Mike Green, edge from Marshall. I can see them with defense. They got pretty much running backs, but they need. Brock Bowers would have helped them. Oh yeah, they didn't. They took a guard instead last year. Idiots. Green Bay, Chevon Revel, cornerback, East Carolina. Green Bay needs defense. We saw that. They need offense also. The Vikings, Jody Barron, cornerback from Texas. I don't like anybody from Texas. Their players just are terrible. Houston, Gray Zabel, O-lineman, North Dakota State. Probably the worst pick I see in the first round on an O-lineman from North Dakota State. Are you kidding me? The Rams, Loveland from Michigan. Well, that's good for Stafford. Baltimore, offensive guard from Ohio State. Seriously? They think that's their problem? Their problem's Lamar. Detroit, Kevin Banks, lineman from Texas. What kind of – you don't need you need defense, fellas. Your line's fine. And Washington Commanders, James Pierce Jr., edge from Tennessee. Beautiful. He's the best so far. Buffalo, a safety from South Carolina. With Buffalo, they need more help defensive line. Kansas City, Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas. Okay, I'm assuming Mahomes picked this. He is from Texas, so maybe he knows the guy. And Philly, Josh Connerly, offensive tackle from Oregon. Again, I question an offensive lineman in the first round, but okay. And that's your first round. So professor strategy in the first round. Defense, mostly defensive line, defensive ends or tackles, Joe Green types, and then I get a Franco Harris, I get a Lynn Swan. That's who I draft. Jack Ham, that's who I'm drafting. Those type of players, strong defense. I'm not drafting O lineman. Why would I draft an O lineman? You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me that an O lineman from Ohio State in the first round is different than an O lineman from Michigan or Oregon or Notre Dame in the third round. Sorry, I don't buy it. They're O linemen. As long as they started for a big school, they're fine. Otherwise, they wouldn't have started for the big school. So that I really struggle with. I think it's a waste of pick. I think if you're doing that, maybe it's a salary cap issue. Maybe linemen get paid cheaper, so you don't want to spend money. But if you want to win, you don't draft an offensive lineman. You don't even know if they're any good. And, you usually need defense. And as the Lions showed you last year, you get a lot of injuries. So I need to get defense and extra defense for the injuries. And the one thing Lions aren't seeing is you're assuming that these guys all come back healthy. They keep assuming that who's that? Their defensive end, Hutchinson. They assume he's coming back healthy. He's not. It's a 4-year injury, right? The guy I heard had it in MMA. He got the same injury. He's out 4 years. Now we know MMA is a little bit more physical, the way they kick and bite and scratch and everything. I don't like that at all. I'd rather watch wrestling than MMA. I think MMA is stupid. But that's what you're looking at. You're more looking at is once you're injured and you hurt your knee, or you're not the same player, especially a pass rusher. Maybe the lineman can be okay injured, not the linebackers, and then your secondary guys are a step slower. So, if I'm the Lions, I just get rid of all the injured guys and bring in new guys. That's what you got to do because you can't count on them. But we will see. Everybody loves the Lions GM, but he gave you Arnold last year, who sucked. I mean, that was a horrible pick. Again, going to Alabama for every pick is not – you're not really a smart GM because they don't have good defense. The LSU and Georgia is where you go for defensive players. Anyway, well, let's see. What does gold have any value? Is it down to zero? Let's see. Oh, you done already?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, that's good. I thought it might take a long time, and they're done. Oh, gold's up to 30.30. I thought it was 31.30. All right. Silver's sitting at 29.56. I highly recommend that. Gold at 30.30. So it got down to 30.20. Now it's coming back. We'll see it back at 31.30 Monday. I mean, because what happens is at 30.30, it's a buy. And now people run out and buy it because they're all because you got to get out of the dollar. It's an automatic play. This is worthless. We know it. They don't. As more people open their eyes and become aware, then they'll realize their only play is to get into gold and silver. It's the only way off the Titanic. I heard somebody try to explain it today, and the guy just didn't know how to explain it. Andy Scheckman commented on somebody else, and so I wrote in his little comment section. Why don't you comment on me? I mean, I'm telling you everything. You're learning everything from me, and then you disrespect me to talk about some other idiot that we don't have any idea who he is. Gold is on the rebound. Well, gold, again, this is paper, and again, this was made so Trump could buy, right? This is why everybody hates the U.S. The U.S. is controlling the market. And why is the U.S. controlling the gold market? This is what makes no sense. And that's basically the problem, right? So that's the point of it, right? That'd be like if all of a sudden Mickey went down to 50,000, everybody would buy it because it's an $80,000 card, and it's 50,000, boom, and that's the difference. See, when you know what the market is. I was listening to Alligator today, and just in recap, he was saying how everything's run by Keynesians. So I guess he's listening to me, right? And that's the problem. All the governments are run by Keynesians who all think you can print money you can just keep printing money unlimited. That's how the Keynesians think. Well, we'll just keep printing, and they don't even understand that it'll hurt the value. I don't understand how you can just ignore that the dollar will get hurt if you keep printing it, like the value won't go down. And that's when I show you, Here's a Kurt Warner card, 400. They printed 400 of it. They understand this is his rookie card. It's a refractor, but they get that this card is worth a lot more if they only print 400 than if they print 40,000. This card's value is because it's a 9. This could be a 10 if you look at the centering. It's sharp. The corners are sharp. There's nothing on it. This could be a 10, right? If it's a 10, it's $1 million. Why? Because it's limited. How many 10s are there in the 68 mantle? 10, 20 at the most. Willie Mays. This looks like could be a 10. This is fucking centered. This is a real nice card. If this is a 10, it's $1 million. Why? Because it can't be more than 10 or 20. In other words, if it's limited, it's worth more. Capiche? Rolex is very limited. The cards, those mantle cards, the 10s are very limited. That's the point of it. When they're like that, they're very, very limited. They have more value. So wait a minute. So if I print the money infinity and I just keep printing the US dollars, it doesn't apply there. It only applies, so limited only applies to make the value higher. But if you keep printing it, apparently it doesn't have any effect on the value. Really? I mean, that's insane. That thinking is fucking insane. And that's all I can say about it. It's just ridiculous. We buy gold because it is limited and it can't be printed. Just like this card, you could not print this card now. That's why they do the reprints. 1996 reprint of the Willie Mays or the Mantle cards. But you cannot print this card. Is tops, and it's 1968. And you can see it. I don't really see a date on it, but I mean, it's just the way it is. The stats are through 67. So anyway, you don't really see it, but you could not print this card now. You'd have to sell it as a 96, 97. I think they made them break the plates or something. So like the Mantle rookie card, Tops can't go and print out 100 gem mint Mantle rookie cards. That's why they do it like in the 90s going, these are the reprint cards. They couldn't do that, which I do have the reprints, but I never took them serious. I wanted those cards, but that's where it's at. So how come the limited ones are worth more, but they want to print the dollar? They can just print it infinity, and there's no problem. It doesn't make any sense. What do you mean you can just keep printing and there's no problem? That's no. You keep printing, there is a problem. You keep printing, it has no value. That's what they're doing. That's the part of the equation they don't get. If they keep printing, they have a problem. So anyway, that's why you can't be in dollars. So why are we in gold and silver? Because they can't print it. It comes out of the ground, and you can't counterfeit it or inflate it. So you can't print more fakely, and you can't just use lead and say it's gold because you test it. So gold is very limited and very highly demanded. And that's why this is bullshit today when the price is going down. Fortunately, we've seen it at 30. Wow, even this morning it was 31.50. If we look here, 31, this was at about 7:30 in the morning. It's 31.35 at 7:30 in the morning. I mean, this is insanity. 30.26. Now again, it's starting to go down, but look where it was. So we know we'll get back there. Silver was the same thing. Silver didn't start going down till about 8 o'clock. And it just shows you how much the derivatives are going to lose on it, because when it's eventually, all it's doing is inviting the Russians and the Chinese and the Indians to buy silver at $29. really, and they're all buying it because they know the real price has got to be $1,000, right? So if they know that, just like I say, and I can buy it for 29, well, I can buy it for 31. Um, I can go buy some ounces, but if I wanted to buy the big bricks, I couldn't find them at 29.43. It cost me a lot more than that. Profit. The stock markets are all in free fall. This is unbelievable. No, this is exactly believable. This is what I'm teaching you. I'm surprised investors are not jumping on the gold bandwagon. They are. That's the other point I'm teaching you. So, because of tariffs, the stocks are going down, the banks are going down, your money's worthless. I think the other thing here is that they're taking their gold to pay for their stocks. But the thing is, this is derivative gold, so I'm not clear on that. It does make sense that this is being used to offset the stocks, but this is not people selling gold. And this is what is it? This is the banks doing derivatives. So how does that help them with stocks? This is not like I'm selling my gold and I need the money to buy my stocks. Let's check on what the stock market's doing. Well, first let's check Bitcoin, and let's see what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin 82,994, really no effect. Let's look at the Dow. Let's see, that's yesterday. Stock sinks as Powell signals damage from tariffs, market wrap. Stock market today, Dow sinks 1,600 points. Friday is tech-heavy NASDAQ tumbles. I mean, we knew that tariffs are going to make things more costly. Dow drops 1,800 points. NASDAQ's at the close in bear market as Trump tariff sell-off worsens live updates. So why is anybody surprised by this? I told you exactly what would happen. The Dow traded more than 1,900 points lower, or 5%. This follows 1,700 yesterday. And this is mild. Wait till it goes 5,000, 10,000. Do we have the numbers? NASDAQ 15,600. What's the Dow at? Notice they won't give you the number of the Dow. That's like when gold has a good day, they're scared to do it. Powell hints the Fed is not likely to bail the economy out anytime soon. Well, that's really the job of the Fed, is to bail out the economy. See, this is exactly what they're saying. Kramer says Trump tariff policy is risking a market crash. They're trying to blame Trump's tariffs for what Biden did. Biden is the one who's crashing the market with all the fake money and all the money printing and all the heavy inflation. But it's Trump's tariffs. So it's almost like Trump's doing this on purpose to get paid off to take the downfall of it. China to apply 34% on U.S. goods. Why is it so hard to find what the Dow's doing now? Should a 70-year-old get out of the stock market? I was telling him that 5 years ago. See, it just says it dropped 1,600 points, but it doesn't say. So what's it at, like 39? Oh, here it is. The Dow's at 38,740. It used to be 45. NASDAQ 15. So the Dow's going down to about 15,000 from 38,000. And NASDAQ 15.7 will be 10. Silver has dropped to depression era lows against gold. Well, who cares about that? Let's look at the FX rate. The euro is 91 cents, which is a joke, but I need the Russian FX rate. And it's an 85.01. It was down to 81 or 82. So let me show this to Dar. So when I help her on Monday, I'm assuming I get my normal Social Security because what Trump did really shouldn't have an effect on me, I was told. So that's the key, as long as I get that. So if I do 27,000, her rent's 27,000, which is only like $300. It's funny how that works because you think, oh shit, I can't afford rent, 27,000. But then when you correlate it back to the US dollar, it's only three. That's what gets you if you ever go to like Romania or the Ukraine or these countries where the FX rate, because they'll bring you the bill, and it happened in Romania. It was $160 or 160 lei, which is Romanian money for dinner, but it's 4-to-1, so it was really $40 for dinner. And I remember Carmen looking at me like, what's wrong? I said, well, when I see 160, I'm used to that being the bill, not start divided it by 4 to get to 40. I said, that's a big difference, paying 160 for dinner and paying 40 for dinner. Anyway, so that's a big difference. But her bank's a little bit different. It's not the same. Dow is down 1,800 so far today. The Canadian is down to them. Just understand all the stocks are going to crash because the economy is going to crash because you just added all these expenses to it. So that's why the gold's getting hit. I assume the banks needing money are selling their derivatives, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm surprised investors are not jumping on the gold thing. Well, I think they are. Most of them don't understand it. And then even if they do, it's really not going to put the price up because, again, the price is not based on, as I talked about, the silver squeeze. It's not going to affect it because the derivatives are set by JP Morgan. He sets the price. He's saying we're going to make gold $3,000. That's the price, no matter what happens in the market. So like I used Alyssa, for example, setting the price on a hamburger, $10, regardless how many people came in to buy it, if everybody or nobody. So in other words, in a regular market, if nobody comes in, I better make that hamburger $8. if a lot of people are buying it, I might make it 12. I'm going to listen to what the market says, and then the price gets adjusted accordingly. But in this case, no matter what the market does, the price of gold is set by JP Morgan. This is the problem. The planners, the communists are trying to price fix gold and silver, which doesn't make sense. If you just had any intelligence, just go buy it and let the price run up, and you'll make a lot of money. You'll make more money buying gold and silver and letting the price run up than you will staying in dollars that have this has virtually no value. So even if you have $1 billion, Warren Buffett, it's worthless. That's the part that's the part they don't get, because they're Keynesians, and the financial planners are Keynesians, and that's why nobody understands it. So what is Trump's end game here? Well, I don't know. He's too weird, but I think his end game is he's got a $37 trillion debt. And that's his end game, is to pay. How do I pay the debt? So I think he thinks he's going to get taxes by tariffing. And people don't even understand what a tariff is. A tariff is a tax not to the consumer, it's to the person bringing it into the U.S. So if Canada is selling lumber, $1 million worth of lumber, and they got to pay 20% tax on it, it's going to cost them $1,200,000. Canada pays the $200,000, not the consumer, and not the Americans. They don't pay the tariff. It's paid. It's another tax. It's like a sales tax. If you go to Target, you buy $100 worth of goods, and they hit you with the 10% tax. You pay $110. You're paying the tax. That's not what happens here. The country sending it in pays the tax. Now they can raise the price if we'll allow them, and that just goes to the producer. So steel goes and then it shouldn't cost GM more, because that 20% is paid by Canada. So they get in steel. There's $1 million. They pay $1,200,000. But all that GM pays is the $1 million, right? They don't pay the $200,000. And Canada can say, well, I'm only going to, but you got to eat the tariff. I'd say, no, I'm not eating the tariff. Thank you very much. So Canada's got to pay the $1 million too. GM pays the $1 million. There's no extra cost to them. I mean, it's not like GM's going to pay the tariff. Canada pays the tariff, whoever's sending it to them, whoever the steel company is. And that's how it works. So again, it's not, and then we don't pay it. Like I said, Toyota tried to make the Camry $35,000. Nobody bought it. The sales manager's crying to me. I says, that's because we're at 25 and you're at 35. Who are you selling it to? Your market doesn't exist. Your market's down at 25. You cannot sell it for 35. What did he do? He lowered his price to 26. These people came up a little bit to meet him, and then he started selling again. So just because there's tariffs does not mean the prices are going up. They can try it, but you cannot just pass it. And since you've just raised prices for the inflation, which didn't work, a lot of people aren't buying it. And that's why you see, Oreo cookies, yeah, buy one, get the second one free or half off. Coca-Cola. I mean, so the prices didn't take. They have to sell the second, but they have to sell it or they're out of business. And that's really what's happening. So they've already tried the price increases and inflation. So I don't see more. Because the steel goes up, they're not going to go back to 35,000. It's not going to happen. They're not going to sell them. They couldn't sell them before. They're not going to sell them now. And the problem is they have to sell it. If they make the car, they got to sell it to get their money back, which they're not going to do at 35,000, which means you either go out of business or you lay off people. You cannot, the market says I'm not paying 35 grand, even if your costs go up to 35 grand. So Trump's end game is the $37 trillion debt. That's his end game. How do I deal with it? He doesn't know economics. Because he's running businesses poorly, he understands I got a $37 trillion budget that I got to pay. He doesn't understand budgets. His casinos, that Trump casinos, were always bankrupt. He had to get $1 million a day in, and he couldn't do it. I think eventually he had to borrow or whatever, but he's not really there. So from that standpoint, that's his end game, is to get out of he wants to end the Ukraine war, because he said he ran on ending it, and it's not his war, so he's got a free pass there. And then to get out of the $37 trillion debt, which he can't do. He has one option. He's got to do it with gold. So maybe this is him buying gold. This is more, I want the price down so I can buy it. Okay, we're ready to buy it. Let's dump the price, which we can do on derivatives, which is what makes sense. And that's probably what happened here. They're dumping it to get the price down. That would be my guess. Now I'm going to show you exactly what's happening, because I watched Trading Places yesterday, and I taped that scene. All right, so this is going to be Trading Places, Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd doing the derivatives with orange juice, as opposed to doing the derivatives with gold and silver. It's the same thing. It's 5 minutes, and then I'll explain it. That's the price, 102. Look at it go, 108. 117. Does this look familiar?
The Dukes are trying to corner the market. I know something. I can feel it. Let's get in on it.
See, they're buying and selling. 132. Does that look familiar? See, he's buying, the other people are selling. See, he's selling at 142, and they all want to buy. So you need a seller and a buyer, but they're selling first, and they'll buy later. Everybody buying. Look at the price come down. Does that look like today? Look what's happening. This is not free market. Look at it go from 142 to 102 in 5 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the orange crop estimates for the next year. After calculating the estimates from various orange-producing states, we have concluded the following. The cold winter has apparently not affected the orange harvest.
That was a supply thing. Was the supply going to be short? If it was, the price would go up. If the supply is not affected, the price should go down. because then it's still high number supply. So they sold at 142. Look at it go down. This is gold. This is gold today, right? See, now they're selling because they bought it at 140 and they're buying. Now they sold at 142 and now they're buying at 29 or 26. So really, if you do it reverse, they bought at 26, sold at 142. They made a fortune. Sound familiar? So they bought at 29 and they sold at 142. Well, Daria's on a roll. I don't normally hear this much from her. Just a second. Just a second. All right, sorry about that. All right, so let's break down the video. I should rewatch Trading Places. Haven't seen it in a long time. It's on Tubi right now. It just is on this month. So what did we see? They think the orange crop's going to be bad, which means supply is going to be down, Duke and Duke. They think supply is going to be hurt by the weather because Eddie Murphy changed the thing because they knew that's what they were looking at. So they said, oh, the weather's going to hurt it. The supply is going to drop, which is going to force the price up. So Duke and Duke says to the buyer, buy as much as you can. So the guy goes and he starts buying at 102, pushes it up to 142 because everybody else around him reacts to it going, oh, they're buying. We're going to start buying too. Price goes to 142. Eddie Murphy knows he put in the phony one. He knows there's no problem. Supply won't go down because the weather didn't affect it. So he starts selling and Dan Aykroyd at 142. So they let it jump. Then they go, okay, it's jumped pretty high. Now we'll come down. And they sell it at 142. That's the thing with options. And you can do that with stock. You can sell it short. So they think it's too high. If you think things are too high, you sell. So they start selling at 142. And then the report comes out and he says, oh, no, everything's fine. No damage. Supply will not be disrupted. That was at about 100. And then it goes all the way down to 26. So they bought at 26 and sold at 142. How did they set the price of orange juice? On derivatives. That was COMEX. It's strictly on derivatives. That's what happened. So because it was derivative based, that's what they did with it, right? So because it's derivatives, now the price of orange juice is $26. What, a quart, an orange? I don't know. $26 was the price of. Now, how did they come up with it? Did they come up with it with the market? No, they came up with it with some bullshit derivatives. Now, some people did ask to buy it, and some people, so you can buy and sell the derivatives. So, in other words, so there was people giving them orders to, I want to buy or I want to sell. And that's earlier in the movie. Advise all the clients to buy pork bellies at 64 by Eddie Murphy. So he could get the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. So did that happen today? Was there orders to sell derivatives? Probably. Why? To cover the stocks. So if we really analyze this deep, people could have been saying, sell my gold, I need money for stocks. And they had this big sell because people need to cover their dollars. This is not people selling gold, but people selling derivatives and things like that. So they call up the broker and Duke, and they say, yeah, I got the gold, sell it. I need money for stocks. And I think that's what happened today. After watching this movie and silver, they said, sell it. And that's the problem when you have it based on derivatives and paper. People are putting in sell orders that not physical. Nobody's selling the physical. Why? Because they need to cover their stocks because they're leveraged and they're doing and they're making them. They're I forget the word, but they're saying you gotta cover margin calls. That's what it is. So they had to margin call their stocks because they got Intel at, or they got Amazon at 100, but it's 10% down and the rest is leverage. Well, as soon as the stock starts dropping, they do a margin call on you. Now, if you were to buy all the stock with your money, if I had $10,000, I bought $10,000 worth of stock, I wouldn't have a margin call. I never did margin calls. When I bought gold, I'd buy 10,000. I'd buy 1,000 ounces at $40 an ounce. That was it. I had the 40,000 in cash to buy it. So that's partly what's happening in gold and silver. They're getting orders because the people need money to get out of their margin calls because you got to come up with them or you're fucked. So I think that's part of what happened. The real price of physical gold and silver is not hurt at all. I think it'll jump back up, but we'll take advantage because this is why it shouldn't be on COMEX and it shouldn't be tied. And we're sitting there with our thumbs up our ass going, why is gold down $100 today? Why is silver down, $2 today? Why is it tied to COMEX and derivatives and options? And Eddie Murphy's selling at 142 and buying at 26. Why is it even tied to that? That's the joke of it. And so what Russia, China, and India are doing, they're saying, no, 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 we're doing physical. We're not doing these derivative bullshits. And that's where we'll get a real price. So I think the reason it's gone up is people have put in buy orders, but they're all getting fucked on their stocks because they're too stupid to be in stocks because they're listening to their financial planner. And the financial planner says, you got to buy, you got to diversify your portfolio, gold and silver and stocks and bonds and real estate trusts and annuities. And my point is you get out of paper, you get off the Titanic, which is all the paper, the stocks, the bonds, the money, the annuities, the real estate trust, and the Bitcoin. You get out of all that because it's money. The price of Bitcoin didn't go down more. And then you get into gold and silver. And the diversification is, here's how I diversify. Maize, man, look at my diversification. I've diversified. And then your other diversification is I bought the Maple Leaf and the Cougaran and the Eagle. My 1 ounce gold. That's how I diversified. Oh, and then we got some silver. I'm diversifying there too. That's how you diversify. That's it. You get out of paper because the paper's all rotten and worthless. And that's what you're trying to do. But anyway, that was Trading Places. I'll play it again tomorrow. I forgot about it. I'll put it in the title. But that's what's happening to gold and silver today is the people putting in sell orders to cover their margin calls on their stocks and real estate trust or whatever. Remember the real estate, maybe remember my movie, Attack on Wall Street, and the guy loses $60,000. They just killed him there. It was 60,000 one day and zero the next because they delisted the whole contract, which is just bullshit, right? So keep that in mind. That's why they made money. They sold at 142 and bought at 26. And you're going to make money doing that. And that's what we're trying to do with gold. We bought it at 1,800 and we're going to sell it at 42,000 or whatever. We're not going to sell it really. We have no intention of really selling it. An ounce or two, if we need money, we sell. But if you got 50 ounces of gold, you'll never sell 45 of them. You might sell 5 for a house or a car, or you need a little bit of cash. But the bulk of your gold, you're just going to hold on and watch the price go up. But depending on the dollar, now you will sell it if you're in a BRICS country and you can get BRICS gold-backed currency, then you will sell it. That's what you're going to do in a BRICS gold-backed currency. You will sell your gold for the BRICS currency so you can go to the grocery store and everything. That's it. If you're in America and we still have this shit and Euro still has this shit, you're never selling your gold because you don't want to get into this because this collapses. Because even though they say you can print to infinity, we know that there's a reason they make it limited. There's a reason this is 400 because they know it's worth more than something that's not numbered. Because the more less in supply there is, the higher the price. Just like the orange crop. If the orange crop was ruined, there'd be very few oranges, the demand would be up here and the supply would be down there. And the price would be much higher. But since the demand didn't hurt, then the demand and the supply are even and the price stays the same. That's what's happening there, and that's what's happening here. And the market's going down. Now, it went down 1,600. It's going down 8. It's only 2 o'clock. It'll go down more. Probably go down 2,300. That's just the start. And then people will realize it, take a breath, and watch it go down 5,000, 10,000 next week. I'm telling you, you'll be lucky if it stays over 10,000. it's going to get crushed because companies will not have earnings. You're taking a lot of the employees out of it. You're taking the government spending, which is printing, which makes the dollar, the value of the dollar worth nothing. That's hence the term inflation. You inflated the money supply, making it worthless. So how are we going to have an economy? We don't have money, and the money we have is worthless. So you have one choice. It's to buy gold and silver, buy a Mantle card, buy a Rolex, buy a Picasso or Van Gogh. That's your other choice. But you want to buy real assets that will hold its value. And that is not anything to do with money. They're not real assets, and they're printed to death. So basically, my Kurt Warner card, this is 400, it's limited. If this was money, this card would say 4 million, not 400. And what would the value of this card be if it said 4 million? Yeah, it'd be worth 2 cents. And what else is worth 2 cents? This. Because you printed, instead of printing 4 million of these, you printed 160 trillion of these. What's the value of something produced that much? Zero. And you just saw it on Trading Places. Nope, the crop report's fine. Orange juice would be fine. What happened to the price? It went from 142 to 26 in about 5 minutes. But the problem is that's how they're pricing orange juice. It's ridiculous. You can see how emotional it is. It's just bullshit. Comex has to leave. You cannot. Why not just price it at market? What's the market of this? Well, let's put it on the shelf and see what we get. Oh, we get $75 a bottle. That's the price of this. What does the market hold? You don't sit there and do derivatives and options. That was options that they were doing. So he's shorting and then buying back. Notice how there was two people. There was, at first he's buying and they're selling. And then when the news came out that it was okay, what was he doing? He was selling and everybody was buying. But there has to be a buyer and the seller. And the difference now is when you sell the gold and want the price to go down, the buyer says, I want to take delivery of the gold. I'm buying the delivery of it. So at 26 at the end, he'd have had to come up with orange juice or oranges. Now it was just settled in money, but now they don't want money. So when you do the derivatives on gold, what are you saying? I want to take delivery of the gold, which they can't do. So I don't know how much more Gomex can be alive because there's no more gold to trade and there's no more silver to trade. So when you're doing what Eddie Murphy did, but I want to take delivery. So when he's selling the orange juice, all of a sudden the people going, I want to take delivery of it. I want the oranges. Right now it's just money being traded. So that would have been fun. They'd have to run out and buy oranges. But why is 26 the price of orange juice? Why was 142 the price of orange juice? It's all bullshit. Have it done in the market. This is the only problem I have with this whole COMEX. It's all bullshit.
I won. I lost. I lost.
Let's see if I can find the attack on Wall Street one. Yeah, here's the attack on Wall Street one. This is a little longer. But anyway, I won't play that now. But this is the problem. How are you getting orange juice at that? So when you do this with gold, how do you do a gold price? Let's see what gold's at. Fuck on. All right, gold's 30.24, silver 29.59. So gold's kind of bottomed out at 30.20, but still it's Eddie Murphy doing it. All right, so 30.24, silver 29.58, but it's just Eddie Murphy selling to get people to pay off their margin calls, because it's not just JP Morgan independently selling, it's people giving him orders. That's what they do in Duke and Duke, right? At Trading Places, it was advise all our customers wanting to sell pork bellies, in this case, wanting to sell orange juice. He probably advised them to buy based on this news. And then at the end, they found out it was bullshit news. So he had to just sell it. But that's really what's happening. And that's what's happening today. I'm sure it's the selling of the, it's the selling to cover the options. That's what they call deflation, which is a made up word by the Keynesians. Deflation is nobody has money to buy, and therefore you have to lower your prices. It loses value. So, Willie Mays, $80,000 PSA 9. This is pretty fucking close to a PSA 10. Nothing. Look at the condition, everything, the corners sharper than shit. Beautiful card. But let's say it was 80,000 for a PSA 9. But can I get 80,000? Are there still people with money able and willing to buy this card? And that's what happens. The able and willings go away. So the card loses value in the market because there's less people available. So when I do the PSA 9, I might have 10,000 people bidding up to $80,000. But now I only have 200 people. Like, I don't have money. And they can't afford to buy it. That's what Warren Buffett is banking on with his $250 billion is, oh, I'll buy the Willie Mays card for 20 grand, and I'll buy the house cheap, and I'll buy the car cheap. What he doesn't understand is, with what are you going to use? Your money is going to be worthless. That's what Warren Buffett doesn't get. That's why you need gold and silver. That will always carry the money. So what'll happen for us, we'll start making money. Our gold and silver go up and up and up. And then we can buy the Willie Mays for 1/10 of an ounce of gold that we couldn't do now because it's only worth $300. Soon it'll be worth a ton. And we can use it to buy things like this. Our values will be going up. It will not be devalued because you will need money. So as you get out of this and as you get out of that, all these people who were in these, who realize they're worthless, what happens? they then start selling it at a frenzy, like the Titanic, trying to get on the boat, trying to get on the lifeboat. They start selling this to try to buy gold and silver because they realize the only thing that has a value is gold and silver because you can't print it and it's limited. And because it's limited, the everybody goes in, and the demand for the gold and silver physical drives the price up. The people in the ETFs will start realizing they've been made off and they're fucked and it's not worth anything. 30.26. Here we go. Let's get a good end of the day. It is cheap, so let's get it back to 30.50 or so. Even silver again, it's now 226 because people said sell it. I got to pay my margin accounts. So that's what kind of indirectly happens to gold and silver derivatives on days where the market gets killed is they're on margin call because these people are morons. That's what tanked the market in 1929. Everybody was on margin. So if you just play it straight and I have 10 grand and I'm going to buy 10 grand of stock, oh, you can buy 50,000 for it. Yeah, but if it starts going down, I'm fucked, just like the dollar. It's the petrodollar until no, it's not anymore. So you have to be very careful of that. So that's what happens, and you've got to understand that. And anyway, so we are 5 steps ahead of the game, as we should be, and that basically puts us in gold and silver out of the dollar. We're ahead of the game because our gold won't go down. This is derivative gold, and it's going down to cover that. But really, there's no danger of gold really dropping too much more. And this was a lot of not profit taking, but covering because they said to buy it. I don't think JP Morgan's doing too much of this because then they'd have to cover it, and they don't. There's no gold to cover this. So this is probably customers saying, sell it. And so Eddie Murphy's there selling, sell my gold, sell my gold. And now you're gonna see him go buy because we know how important gold is. But I wouldn't worry about it today. This is Trump's tariff. This is the effect of Trump's tariffs, which is surprising how it was at $30 and 31.40 at what about 7:30? It was 31.40. So it's amazing how as soon as the end of the Brits and the US got it, they just crushed it. But what do you think China's thinking? In Russia, they're going, oh, guess what we're doing Sunday night? We're going to buy gold at 31.24 or 30.24. That's the key now is BRICS and them needing to buy it. All the BRICS central banks are drooling now going, oh, I can't wait to buy it on Monday because their market's closed now. China's closed and Europe's closed. So you got to realize the buyers are drooling right now and they can't buy it. It's like waiting at a restaurant, right? I'm going to get the chocolate cake. Oh, wait, they're closed. I got to wait till they open up, or the ribs or whatever you want to buy. And that's really where it's at. So that's the whole point. It's you're looking at that. So that's why the actual customers who say to buy and sell the paper gold are the ones dictating a lot of this selling because they need money. So you're going to run into that as the economy starts shrinking. You're going to see a lot of major assets being sold for whatever. Houses will be sold for 100, 200 grand, which is what I've been trying to tell Prophet and trying to tell Luke. Luke wants a house for his family. And I keep telling him, just wait. It's you'll have 2 ounces of gold to buy the house. Not only will gold go up, but the house will come down. And that's what's happening. You will need money. So follow this logic. I need money. What do? I sell an asset that I have. What's an asset? My cards, my gold, my silver, my Canadian club, whatever you have as an asset is what you sell. You might sell your golf clubs. You sell whatever you can and get whatever you can. That's why, because you're forced to sell, is why the price goes down. It's not deflation. I mean, that's a Keynesian word, deflation. It's what the market will bear. The market has changed. That's the point. So if I want to sell my car and it goes from, now I can get 10,000 for it, but I need the money, I'm going to sell my car for 10 grand because that's what the market will bear because there's not the buyers out. So what ends up happening right around now, there's no buyers. So if you need to sell with no buyers, you're fucked. Now, the only thing that there will be buyers for is gold and silver because people will be racing out of money as it's losing value into gold and silver will go to the moon because there will always be buyers for gold and silver because you need to eat and pay your rent or you're starving. So the assets, the paintings, the houses, the cars will sell cheap. That's what'll happen. But if you're in money, you're going to get fucked because the money is worthless. Only in gold and silver will you not get fucked. And that's why I laugh at Warren Buffett. He's sitting there with $250 billion. That's basically worthless. And it's not gonna help him. He should be in gold and silver. Not only that, he'll make 50 times on his money in gold and silver. But not now. If he looks to buy gold now, he's not going to find it. Yeah, I want to buy $1 billion worth of gold. Well, good luck. Do you speak Chinese? Because you ain't buying it. Who's got that kind of gold? It's already sold. It's gone. So that's really the big key. And that's why I get less for Mantle and Mays if I sell when nobody can buy. So you always need able and willing buyers. That's really the key to it. Able and willing, right? Do they want and can they afford it? But once you get out of that and there's nobody able or willing, that's why the market drops because everybody's broke because they were in dollars and they didn't listen and they stayed in the stock market because my $500,000 IRA 401ks are there. Well, how much is it worth now after losing 1,800 and 1,600 in the stock market? Now what's it worth? Yeah, probably not that much. So that's what we have. So as long as everything stays for my Social Security for a while, until silver and gold finally go through the roof, then I won't care about it as much. But right now I need it because that's basically my paycheck. So instead of working at a bank or a grocery store, I'd be stupid to do that, just get my Social Security because I would make about the same amount, but I wouldn't be able to, if I'd have to pay tax. Well, really, if I don't have a job and I get Social Security in, I don't pay tax. So why would I get a job? I mean, it's counterproductive, but it's my money. It's my pension coming back. So I definitely am owed this. This is money I'm owed. I'm not, doing anything else. But anyway, everything should be fine on Monday. If you hear me screaming Monday morning, you'll know why. Like in Euro Trip, Scotty screamed because the account got locked. But anyway, I think that's about it. So hold on to your gold and silver. Do not be in paper gold and silver. Do not be in ETFs, even the stocks. The problem with the stocks, you think they're going to go up, is able and willing. How many people are able and willing to buy gold stocks? Keep in mind the gold and silver inventory of the stocks and the miners will go down because it's the only place to get the gold and silver will be from the miners. So their stock will go from 10 billion to 1 billion. So their inventory goes down. And who's going to want to get in stocks when the stocks are crashing, right? The stocks lost 1,800 today. I'm sure the gold stocks lost too today. They dump it when all the foreigners start dumping, and you're going to see panic now. This is when the ignorant doesn't know what they're doing. They panic. Me and you, we're sitting there calm. We understand. We knew this was going to happen. We waited. We talked about tariffs. It's bad for the economy. The stock market was going to crash before. this is speeding it up. So we knew that's going to happen. How Trump didn't know, or the golden age, I don't know what he's talking about. Guy's out of his mind. Once we know that, we know the stocks are going to crash. Again, we're 3 steps ahead. So today doesn't surprise us, and we got gold and silver, which we know was used to cover the margin calls, which should then go back up to, we'll see 3,500 very soon. By July 1st, we'll probably be about 4,000 in the gold, and silver should probably start hitting. Well, probably around July 1st. So probably in June, it'll be a couple $100 an ounce for silver. So look at silver as a buying opportunity. Silver's not going anywhere. It's very limited. It is money, as this dollars are worthless, because you can't just print to infinity and act like nothing's going to happen. So that's what you have with that. So be careful. You better start saving and not spending. You better be careful. You better overspend at the grocery store to store. I did do that, but not, I have a little in my freezer, but not what I should, knowing the prices are going to go up. But the meat's weird. The hamburgers I can still get for $5 a pound at my more expensive meat grocery store. So I might get a few extra pounds of it. I guess I can buy some spaghetti just even though it's carbs and I don't want it, but it's a good thing to have. If you can't afford anything, at least you have spaghetti. You can make spaghetti. Tuna, I've got some, but I'm not going to buy 50 cans of tuna. I probably should, but I'm not going to. Or soup or something that'll last, but it's hard. I did that with Daria, but I think she ate it already. Hey, Eric. The market is crashing, Eric. Figure 10,000. It'll go down to 10,000. That's why we buy gold and silver here, because we already know what's going to happen, just like we know football, Eric. The market's crashing because of the tariffs, because of the expense, because the money's not worth anything. Pick your reason. But the economy's crashed. The dollar's worthless. This is not worth anything. Okay, so if this isn't worth anything, we got big problems, right? And it isn't. They printed it to death. You can't just keep printing it and not have anything to do. Yes, the market's going to crash. It'll be in the 30s, and then you'll see it in the 20s, and then you're going to see it in the teens. So you either do an Eddie Murphy and short it, or you buy gold and silver and watch the gold and silver go to 5,000 an ounce and go, there's no worry. I love it. I just look up, it's up $50. What will the S&P 500 go to? What's it at now? I just watched I don't really watch any of them because I have no interest, but the Dow, I think it's 39 or 38. What's the S&P? 5,000, 10,000? Probably go down to 1,000. NASDAQ was 17, is now 15. Figure that about 6,000, 7,000. All these tech stocks are going to explode. Tesla will be worth $50, if that. Their sales were down. Everybody's tariffing them. Their rocket crashed. Everybody hates Musk. Yeah, I probably wouldn't own Tesla. I never did. I never thought it was good because of it was the electric cars, but I see that the sales were way down. S&P 500 is 5,100. It'll probably go down about 1,000. But it doesn't matter unless do you own the full S&P or do you own stocks in it? So figure the stocks will go down. Your Disney's, that's going to get hurt because nobody's going to pay $75 to go to Disney when they need to eat. Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they did price increases. I'd be careful with those. Small items, Hershey's will probably do well. Campbell's soup, very inexpensive food. We all need food and the cheaper stuff. So I'd say Hershey's would be your best bet. Coke and Pepsi are going to be in trouble. I saw Coke and Pepsi go up to $3.65 for the 2-liter. They couldn't sell it at $3 or $2.95. Now they're going to go up to $3.65. Their sales are going to get crushed. You don't need Coke and Pepsi. There is 7-Up and Dr. Pepper and Faygo, ginger ale, Verner's and Canada Dry. I don't need Coke and Pepsi. In fact, I don't like it because it's between the caffeine, or if I get diet and then I have the other crap, and where the sugar, it's terrible for you. It's the worst drink you can have. So look out. And then they raise prices. It wasn't based on demand. So I think they're fucking with everybody. Sort of like Oreos and General Mills, Cheerios, all that shit. If they keep raising prices, they're all going to buy the Meyer brand or whatever. S&P 551, 401k, Vanguard, and SAP in my portfolio. Get out of SAP, and you want to get out of Vanguard. Go into, you want to be in gold and silver. You don't want to be in a 401k. The stock's going to crash. You're going to lose your ass. And all I can do, Eric, is I would get out of it and buy gold and silver physical. That's your only hope, because these stocks are not, you're going to lose 50% of whatever you have now, or you can get out of it, pay a little tax, buy gold and silver, and make 100%. That's about as simple as I can call it. I got out of mine and I bought gold and silver, as you know, and that's what I talk about. You can buy these. This will help you if you can get your money into it. These are 1968s. This will help you. These will not go down in value. They do very little. That's what you want. You want real assets. You don't want Bitcoin, and you certainly don't want to be in stocks. So you're going to get crushed. I hope you have an opportunity to sell them. Even if you have to pay the tax, you don't have to pay it till next year. But get into gold. You got a perfect day. Buy silver now. It's a perfect day. Let's see what these are at. So silver is 29.40, 29.51, gold 30.23. So this is beautiful opportunity to buy the silver. This will be probably 500 an ounce by July, because that's when they go Basel III and they have to cover. So these are a bunch of bullshit. This price is a joke. Gold will be this would be about 5,000 by summer. So you can either be on the up elevator or on your stocks going down. And I know it's tough because you're in a 401k, but you got to get out of it. You got to take whatever penalty and get out of it, because it's you're not going to you're going to lose your ass in it. And I hate when my family loses money, so I don't want you to do that. That's your only hope, because this market's just going to collapse. The tariffs are terrible for it, because that makes everything more expensive. Not necessarily the prices, but the cost. So let's say you're Toyota now, and you've got to sell your Camry at $35,000, and nobody will buy it at $35,000. Really, it's the last thing people want to do now is buy a car at high interest rates. You should have bought the car when the rates were zero. That's what I did in 2018. But the last thing you want to do is buy a car now. And therefore, how are they going to sell it? And then it's $35,000. Well, people don't have the $35,000 to buy the car. So would you buy stock in GM and Ford? Now, if you can short the stock in GM and Ford, then I would highly recommend shorting it. Then you'll make a fortune, because the stocks will go down. They'll tank. I would probably short Disney, and I would probably short Coke and Pepsi, and if you can play that game. But I don't know what your options are in your 401k. But your Vanguard and your S&P is going to get crushed. There's no other way around it. If I make this card sells for 80 grand, if it's a 9, and I make this and prices go up, I got to sell it for 100 grand. Well, no, the market is 80 grand on it. So it's going to go down because less people can afford it. So now it's 60,000 for this card. That's all people can afford. Not that it's not worth the 80 grand. That's what you got to understand. It's what will the market pay for it? Now we know it's an $80,000 card, but we got to see what the market will pay for it. I got to get these cards graded. I'm so scared, because there's no fucking way. If I send these into Highland Mint, and they're both, I think, 10s, I don't know. This is how off center is it? But I've seen cards this off center get a 10. Everything else is perfect. And the same thing. This is even better centered. This is a 10. You think I send it into Highland Mint or PSA, and the guy grading it is going to grade it a 10, doesn't take the cards and give me 2 garbage cards, and I get 8s, and he's sitting there with $1 million worth of cards because he got the 10s. You think I'm going to trust that? I don't know. I got to know more about it before I do that. But am I going to get those cards, actually get those cards back after the grade? I just find it hard to believe. So right now I'm not. But get out of them, Eric. And even if you got an amazing Mano, you'd be better off than holding stock. You know the stocks are dropping. It's not a question of are they going to. It's not a question of why. The economy's in a recession, probably in a depression. But they won't tell you that because they don't want to scare you. So you don't really know that we're in a depression, but I'm telling you we are. It just means the economy's slowed down, which we know, higher prices and people not working and AI taking your jobs and all this trade problems and the tariff raising costs and the inflation raising costs. How can the market not be in a depression? And again, that's why you got to hold gold and silver, because that's limited. They can't print it. That's your guard against the inflation and the depression. Your guard is the gold and silver, because people will run into it to get out of the dollar, to get out of the euro, to get out of the Deutschmark, the yuan, everything else. Why do you think China and Russia are buying gold hand over fist? So keep that in mind. That's your out. Right now, I'd go buy as much silver, 29.44 as you can. That's a no-brainer. That'll be at least $300-400 an ounce this year, and you're buying it for $30. So you make what 10 times. So you get 1,000 ounces at 31 an ounce. And then it turns into $500 an ounce, and you made 1.5 million. So that's how it works. So try to do that. Try to get out. I don't know how it works. I'll be happy to help you, but basically, just dump it. Just sell it all. Pay your tax. You'll more than make up for it when gold and silver go up to the moon. That's all I can. It's exactly what I did. I sold mine, paid the tax, got out of it, bought silver. I have it on my credit cards now. I got a couple of big credit cards because it's all gold. And I don't care. It's like it was worth it because I bought the gold at 1,800. So anyway, keep that in mind. Gold will come back up. So will silver. This is just profit. This is margin call day. We're going to see more margin call days, but it's just a joke. And again, it's only in the U.S. market. When we get to China, if you notice in the U.S. market, but in the China market, look where it was. It was 31.30. This is actually in the European market, 31.30. So it's not affected by China and Europe. It was only when we hit the U.S. where the stock market's crashing. So stock market's going to keep crashing, because it's so overvalued, because all these idiots were in it only because Wall Street puts you in stocks to make commission on you. So it's a Ponzi scheme. That's why I stay out of stocks. I know it's all bullshit. And then here it comes, and now it's going to start dropping. You'll wake up Monday and it'll be down 5,000 points. Your stock that was 150 is going to be 100, and you're going to go, fuck. I just got fucked. And the fact that you're in a fund, you're really fucked, because the whole fund will get crushed. So be careful, get the fuck out of it, get into gold and silver physical. You want to buy the coins. You don't want to buy ETFs, and you don't want to buy stock. No. See, everybody thinks stocks will do well because normally they do well, but this is not normal. This is the market crashing because the dollar's crashed. This is not, you don't go into stocks with this. You go into gold, physical coins. All right. Anything else, Prophet, Eric? Good luck, Eric. Get the fuck out. Anyway, I'll re-show tomorrow. I'll re-show that. So basketball, take Florida over 159 against who they playing. Florida's playing Auburn, and then Houston and Duke go under. Duke's got a pretty good defense. We know Houston does. Go under 136 and a half. That's my 5-star play of the day. And then in baseball, my 5-star play of the day was San Francisco under 7.5 against Seattle. They don't even have a 200 hitter on the team. And then I did give Philadelphia over the Dodgers as a dog at home, only because the Dodgers had to travel to Philly. And that first day of the travel is always exhausting. I know when I go to Europe, I'm exhausted the first day. So I don't know how they can play a ball game. And they traveled yesterday, so they're all exhausted today. So take Philly to beat the Dodgers. All right. Silver 29.39, gold 30.22. We wanted to just get through this day with gold in the 30.20s, and we'll get it back into the 31s on its way to 35. But you can see the bleeding's pretty much stopped. And that's it. That is the bottom line. Stone Cold is saying so. And that's all we care is what Stone Cold says. All right. I think that's it. So, yes, be careful of the stocks. It's crashing. It's way overvalued. I've been warning you this for 2 years now. I've been out of the stocks for at least 3 years before Alabama. So for 3 years or so, I've been out of stocks, and I've been in gold. And I'm slowly gaining it now. I'm really starting to, So at 1,700, I was in the gold. And at 22, I was in the silver. And silver should be much higher. But gold at this price is it's a joke. It's just going to go higher. Huge demand. And again, this is mostly people doing their margin calls. And it's amazing how stupid people are listening to their financial planners, doing it on margin, and then they get called and they got to come up with the rest of their money that they never should have played. If you bet a football game, you bet 1,100 to win 1,000. That's got to be it. It's not, well, I did it on margin, so I only had $100, but I bet 1,000. Oh, now I owe 900 because I lost. No. That is the one beautiful thing about football. You can only bet what you got. So when you go make the bet at Caesar's Palace, you give them 1,100 to win 1,000. Off you go. That's it. They won't take margin call. They won't take 100 and I'm betting 1,000 unless you do the cards that I do, where you're trying to pick 10 winners and you bet $20 to win 1,000. That's what I've done. I do that pretty good, actually. Anyway, I think that's about it. So have a good day. Any other questions, comments? Let me know. Eric, Real D, Prophet, Luke, I hope you're safe in France. Hope you can get home. Be careful. Buy your gold, buy your silver. Time is ticking. This is not going to get better. This is only going to get worse. Your dollar has no value. Remember that. It's been printed to death. You cannot just print with no problems. Doesn't work that way. All right, I guess that's it, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. Final Four tomorrow. Florida over, Houston under. And then the baseball, take the Phillies over the Dodgers, take the 49ers under. And they got Verlander on the mound. He ends up at San Francisco with Joe Montana. And you got to love the under. Seattle doesn't have anybody that can hit 200 against Verlander. So I'd almost bet, if you can, bet that he no-hits them. Bet that he shuts them out and he no-hits them. Take 10, 20 to 1 on it. That would be a better bet than the stock market. All right. Have a good day, everybody. I will talk to you tomorrow. If you need me, www.teaserking.com. You can get my email like Prophet does and Titus does and everybody else. All right. Have a good day. Take care.